Thank you, dear Olana, for this wonderful question. Since this is a question about hope, I will try to respond in English. But before I turn to the matter of hope, I will say a few words about gratitude. And let me tell you about gratitude like Ukrainian can do it. I'm grateful to Ambassador Fried, who is a legend and who is a strong supporter of Ukraine, has been that supporter for years, and his name is on par with the most famous names in the history of the American diplomacy. And I'm proud today, Ambassador Fried, to be with you on the same stage. I would like to thank Philip Zelikow, whose philosophy stands behind many important endeavors with regard to our common fight against Russia, including the idea how to transfer the frozen Russian assets to Ukraine. And I'm grateful to your profound, deep thoughts addressed to this audience with regards to the grand strategy. I would like to thank Jeff for his remarks that are very helpful and important for our discussion. I would like to thank Celesta Wollander, who is a strong American leader, leading right now in the Department of Defense, being on Ukraine's side. It's a tough and difficult job. She is doing that job. And on behalf of the KU Security Forum, I would like to thank our partners from the Pentagon, our partners from the State Department, including our good friend Victoria Nuland, for everything they did to help Ukraine. Ukraine survived because of the bravery of the Ukrainian men and women on the front, because of their blood. But Ukraine survived because of the enormous, unprecedented help which came from the West. For the first time in the millennium history of Ukraine. This is our gratitude. Today's KU Security Forum is a manifestation of that gratitude addressed to other nations. For this particular reason, we actually held together with all our team led by Arseniy Yatsenyuk. The whole idea of this forum is about gratitude, but also about fight. Before the forum, we had a talk with Admiral Rob Bauer, together with Arseniy, and I had a chance to tell him that we Ukrainians, we may laugh, we may smile, we may talk about a whole range of enormously important subjects, but there is something deeply inside, which is pain. And this pain talks. This pain talks here in different messages, including those who were told by Secretary Danilov. It's an unfortunate role for the director of the KU Security Forum to be the last speaker at the last panel at the end of the KU Security Forum, because everyone awaits that I will be brief. No way. And everybody thinks that I will present some kind of concluding remarks. There are no concluding remarks. All our conclusions are open and will remain open for an unpredictable period of time. But I will tell you something which bothers me a lot, and I decided to share with you these thoughts. Russia, and I will use my notes not to forget the most important parts, as I usually do. Russia's war against Ukraine has inflicted a severe blow to Ukraine. We already find ourselves, and this is a difficult fact to comprehend, we already find ourselves in another Ukraine. Russia's aggression has violated not only Ukraine's territorial integrity, but also our humanitarian, cultural, and informational integrity. Millions of people have found themselves beyond the borders of Ukraine. Millions are now under direct Russian occupation, facing repressions and severe educational and cultural propaganda. They try to make them Russians, imperialistic Russians. In terms of its genocidal consequences, Russian aggression today is on the par with the Holodomor genocide and the Second World War that nearly put an end to the Ukrainian nation. We already live in another Ukraine. The Russian war has fundamentally changed Ukraine's political landscape. Its consequences go far beyond temporary setbacks in political process. The war fundamentally reshaped the entire range of political stakeholders and impacted the basics of what we call the phenomenon of the Ukrainian democracy. Ukraine's proactive civil society mobilized into unprecedented volunteer movement instrumental to the success of the national defense effort. These people are Ukraine's most precious, valuable asset, and we are losing them every day now. Mass media diversity has turned into a united, one-voice-only marathon. On another side, genuine media, which have been safeguards of the freedom of speech, gave way to little-known and unreliable channels of communication. Political opposition's role has shrunk to an unprecedented minimum. The role of previously influential financial groups, fortunately, has been changed and diminished. So did their ability to maintain the so-called notorious, but the pluralism of dependencies. Even the foundations of the church have been shaken by the war. In general, the war has changed the balance of power, stakeholders, and rules of political competition in Ukraine. Perhaps the most important change reshaping Ukraine's political landscape is the emergence of a new influential participant. This new stakeholder is the Ukrainian army. And this notion incorporates much more than just the armed forces of Ukraine. It comprises military, it comprises veterans, it comprises volunteers, their families, and the whole ocean of Ukrainian patriots engaged in the defense effort. From now on, a multitude of issues in Ukraine depends on effective actions of this important actor, ranging from the situation on the front to our victory in the future, from the protection of Ukraine's life and existence to its prospective political forms. It is quite clear that Ukraine is destined to live with a long-term security threat. We never choose the fate of the nation of destiny, as you said, but we have to stand up to this role. This undeniable and basic fact will largely determine what one can call the grand strategy for Ukraine, a set of policies to guarantee Ukraine's long-term security and prosperity despite any hostile and unfavorable circumstances to Ukrainian citizens today and to all future Ukrainian generations. It is difficult to overestimate the role of our army in the grand strategy for Ukraine. And here come a number of questions. Are we capable of forming a stable democracy under a constant military threat? Are we capable of forming a military democracy, a Cossack democracy? Is our army capable of not only defeating the enemy, but becoming a mighty pillar for the democratic nature of our statehood? For this particular answer, this is so important that Ukraine is strongly integrated into the North Atlantic Alliance, and the Ukrainian army is integrated in the North Atlantic Alliance with their skills, with their knowledge, with their education, and with their mindset, with their values and principles that we fight for them today. The nature of Ukrainian statehood is democratic. Freedom and democracy are concepts that reflect and define our national character. And it is these very concepts, so dear and so natural to us, along with our national identity, that are so unacceptable and threatening to Russia. Our grand strategy must include democracy, strengthening the European Union and NATO, enforcing transatlantic ties, victory over Russia's imperialism, and undermining any Russian attempts to restore its military potential. It should include maintaining the leadership role of the West in global affairs and creating a world order based on rules, law, justice, and liberty for all. This is what pain means. This pain gives us a privilege to have the clarity of understanding of what's going on and where we stand. Please tell about this pain to Speaker Johnson and his team. Please tell to the MAGA people, telling them that they will never be great if Ukraine will fail. Please tell this to the world, as today the Kyiv Security Forum calls to the international community. Together we prevail. I thank you.